Hey, welcome to the trend right here on NTV. DJ Blessing on the ones and twos, man. He is killing it. We have an amazing show lined up for you guys. Remember, we have MCSK and the members right here on NTV The Trend. We also have Ochungulu family that is going to be coming through, and we also have Somo organization, an amazing organization that is also going to be with us today. And also today I'm joined by the one and only General Theodore, who's going to be reading your tweets, your feedback and everything. And all you got to do is hashtag #HeyAnto. And at the Trend Live at NTV Kenya at Antonio. So it has definitely been an interesting week, and we have everything covered for you guys. Obviously, to start us off, it's all about MCSK and this number right here, 2530. So, you guys, mambo.
You guy.
That then. Wazima, si ndio?
Tuko hapa trend. Wazima ni wapi tuko?
Wazima logo Kerovoya.
Before we do so, the year is 1984. And a local daily has published a headline that reads, "Musicians complain of royalties." Now, a few probably days or weeks later, a gentleman by the name Abel Kifoto receives a letter from the then General Manager of Musicians Performers Rights Society of Kenya, Mr. Ndemange. This letter informs him that MPRSK is no longer going to be disbursing royalties to artists, but it is going to be done through MCSK. Fast forward to 2011, and now that artist who was complaining is the chairman of MCSK, and Kekobo has decided to deregister MCSK 4 months before his demise. He is now the late Mr. Kifoto. Now, all this stuff leading up to this day that we have today, from newspaper headlines to social media headlines, MCSK has definitely been mad with a lot of court cases. You can check case number 167/2015, case number I think 275, all those civil cases about MCSK, artists disgruntled about elections. It has been ridiculous. When MCSK was registered in 2011, Kekobo, which is the Kenya Copyright Board that regulates MCSK, met up with MCSK and the then Attorney General, Amos Wako, and they struck a deal that had MCSK continuing with their operations. It has led us to this moment today, where on 13th of August, like the proverbial bad luck number 13, Kenyan artists, most of them received 2,530 shillings, including myself. I got a text from Vivian. Vivian, you know her of Teren, and her message was, Teren, Anto, did you receive 2530, and what are you going to do with the money? And that led to ridiculous, crazy, and it has been an interesting week full of people talking about MCSK and the things that we've gone through. And we are here. It's all about the court of public opinion, but we must be able to differentiate between fact and fiction. Is it an issue of misinformation, of missed information? What has gone amiss? Theodore, mambo. Theodore hajaisikia kizungu mingi hivyo. Mambo ki Theodore.
So in one sitting umesema dictionary nusu. Wakenya right now wanachanganyikiwa. What are we doing here? Anyway, Jambo Kenya and Jambo Anto, it is nice seeing you. Imekuwa long time kweli kweli. Umekuwa wapi Anto?
Nimekuwa nikitumia 2530 shillings.
That is Anto for you. I am Mr. G, Mr. General Theodore. You can call me Theodore. Unachanganyikika kidogo kwa sababu unafaa kuniita Thedo. Ladies call me Theo. Yeah, Theo. The tongue should be somewhere in between the hapa na hapa. Not on the roof, not on the floor. Hapo katikati ina hang hapo. That is something good. And we are here, and guess what? Si mambo tu ya muziki, si mambo ya kuiba imeibiwa, wibo imeibiwa. kitu kama hiyo. Si mambo ya hiyo tu peke yake. We are here because I'm here to read the tweets and keep them coming. And of course today, the meme challenge tuko nao leo ni moto sana. Meme ndio hiyo hapo. Warefu, maofa, manyonyoe. Wale wanazitaga manoria defu. Leo tuko na hapo. So, sema kitu about those makodofia hapo. Zinaitangwa nyama ghetto. Nyama inamaanisha kwamba ninaweza kula ugali, kaboga na bila shaka niende kwa soko. And because hapa ndio tunakusomea tweets. Na bila shaka tutajua ni nani hapa mshindi. Tushtue. Antonio Solo wako hapa na watu wa music wako hapa kuiba na kitu kama hiyo. So don't worry, niko hapa. We're on the trend live. And yes, hashtag ni Hey Anto. Ukiweza kuweka hashtag General Theodore pia sitakataa ama sina mna hiyo. Ndio hivyo basi. Anto, it is your time. Take it over.
Awesome. And obviously, again, we are back to the MCSK issue. About that meme challenge, by the way, this is what I think. If the Kagames were avocados, that's my caption. Because those avocados are very long. Anyway, speaking once again about MCSK, we've come from newspaper headlines to social media headlines. Let's hear what some Kenyan artists had to say about this 2530 issue.
I would like to weigh in on this conversation about MCSK. That's the Music Copyright Society of Kenya. Hapo ndani tunaweza tupa pia PRISC, Performance Rights Society of Kenya, na pia CAMP, Kenya Association of Music Producers. And in my opinion, hizi CMOs tatu zenye zina collect royalties on behalf of artists na musicians, they are really parastatals. Kwa ule msaelewi hiyo word ni gani, naweza try decipher tu kidogo. Basically, zina act ka decoy distance government from talents in being able to address issues pertaining the creative arts and performing arts industry. Now, also wanaenda around wanaharas, and it only happens in Kenya. That's now the most interesting thing. Wanaenda around wanaharas club owners, wanaharas wasewa taxi, and any public places in the name of collecting our royalties. That's not how it should happen.
Yeah. So MCSK wametutumia pesa 2,000 so 5 na 30 bob ya kutoa. After all these years, mazi, yani ndo pesa msanii analipwa. Msanii ana work hard, you do a audio, you do a video, you promote it, na unalipwa 2,530 shillings.
Wanacheza ngoma ya Pose Z. I want my money, manze. Nitaingiza ofisi zenu ndo avuruga, msinione hivi. No, but this is very serious, eh? Tuheshimiane tafadhali. Unanitumia 4,000 mimi mtu natumia 4 million kwa video zangu. Wewe unaniambia nini wewe? Tafadhali MCSK, Camp, PRISC. I need my money. Actually, I want my money. Na hizo logs. Tafadhali, eh? Heshima tafadhali.
Clearly, the royalties that Willy Paul received did not make him say hallelujah at all. It's more of like, go to that place. So, and today I'm joined by the heavyweights, wakubwa wa hii industry. And we had to balance out from the one and only veteran, Mr. Ted Josiah, right there. You can see him. We also have, this female rapper #1. I'm talking about the one and only Wangeshi Wagwan. We also have from MCSK, Mr. Fred Koigi, Peter Koigi, and not Wamwere.
No.
We only have Peter Koigi right here from MCSK, head of marketing. We also have these two guys who, these guys are living legends. I'm talking about the one and only Bonai and Frasha from Punet P-Unit. Mleta kufanya
legend, like ndio legend.
Sasa hii ndio ubaya wasanii wa Kenya. Mimi nakuta legend unafaa own. Ni kama Baraka. Just own it.
Ndio mzae.
Ndio mzae. Owesi mzee basically. Anyway guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And we are going to start this conversation with Peter Koigi from MCSK, who already amepata masimu. Relatives wanamuona kwa TV. Nasikia anapigiwa simu na branch. Lipa deni. Amani, I don't know. So, Peter Koigi, first and foremost, I told guys today it's going to be like a classroom. We are here to separate fact and fiction. And number one, I want you to tell other young artists, Kenyan artists, and the public at large, what is MCSK and what does MCSK do?
Okay, thank you very much. MCSK was actually formed to actually collect royalties on behalf of authors, composers, arrangers, and publishers of musical works in the Kenyan repertoire and also abroad, that is international, based on the reciprocal agreements we have with international bodies. Currently, we have about 96 reciprocal agreements. Eventually, MCSK also gives you what we call the IPI. This is what we call interested party information. You, as an artist, you get that, you can only get it from MCSK. So this one uniquely identifies you as a songwriter here in Kenya and also abroad. So with that number, you can go anywhere in the world and they will be able to identify you even with your works. Then there's a second.
Okay.
There's a second number that we give you. We call it the works identification. We call it WID. This one also now sort of like takes all your works and they are put on what we call the works identification database. So anybody can actually identify your works all over the world, whether it's a remix, whether it's original work, or whether it's a cover of your works. And has
MCSK been able to achieve their mission and objectives for artists in Kenya since 1983? Do you feel that MCSK has been able to do that?
Yes. There have been great milestones. When you look at when MCSK was actually formed back in 1983, we didn't have systems. I'll be very frank, we didn't have systems because it was formed in March 1983. We didn't have systems. Currently, we have monitoring systems where, for example, if not only if an artist, a Nigerian artist, sort of like post their work on their side from MCN, that is Music Operator of Nigeria, here at MCSK, once we open our platform, we're also able to monitor the same for that same particular artist. But now it depends because now on the other side, that particular artist has actually taken an initiative and taken their works to MCN for them to be able to upload it onto the same system, where now on this other side, we're also able to do the same. This system has actually been used all over the world in over 96 countries, and that's the same we have actually adopted.
Cool. And that said, I'm going to start with Wangeshi ladies first. Do you remember when you registered as a member at MCSK?
MCSK? Probably when I was starting off, I think 2015 was when I registered, yeah. But I didn't do the registration by myself. Somebody else did it for me. So I'm still waiting for the text for your registration has been confirmed, and I still haven't gotten it.
How much money have you received so far from MCSK?
I'm not even part of the 2530, imagine.
Serious?
I don't know what happened to my papers and my music that I submitted there. I don't know, it was not taken in, but I am in PRISC.
And I know obviously again your issue is with PRISC because you posted a screenshot where you received how much?
I received 4,076 bob ya kutoa.
And what does that make you feel as an artist? Does it make you know?
That was, as in, it just discourages you first of all because you know what you put into your work for that year. Because this collection that we're getting is for 2018. And you know how much music you put out for that time, you know the videos and the money you spend. So when you get 4,000 bob, you just actually laughed. And that's why I posted it, because it was just hilarious for me. Yeah.
I'm going to start with the artist first and I'll come to Ted Josiah, because I also want Kenyan artists to understand when you go to into a studio, what happens, like you and the producer. And also I'll come back to you. And this issue involves the notion that MCSK works with unscrupulous studio owners to change the registration of the ownership of the IP, the IP ownership in MCSK. So think about that. Frasha Bonai from P Unit.
Yeah.
You guys had one of Kenya's biggest songs, Kari. And I know actually your journey begins there where you started complaining about, Ati, how much have what? Tell us about your journey as MCSK members.
Okay, first of all, I think I am better placed to speak about MCSK. I was elected to the budget committee in MCSK, and we were supposed to regulate the spending of MCSK. What happened thereafter? I was kicked out without a letter because I started making a lot of noise on TV. We went round, and I was kicked out. No letter, nothing. We were told to move out. Now, basically, I think it will be very unfair for us to take on Peter here from MCSK, because it's just been used. He doesn't know the whole system, the whole music system, and I need us to be more objective, not look at MCSK only. The whole music industry in Kenya has a big problem. We have a Copyright Act which has been in Parliament since 2017. The Copyright Act we use is from 2001. It was amended in 2017. Till today, nothing has been done to it. If you look at the biggest selling company, which you cannot take anywhere, which sells our music, they take 75% of whatever they sell. And they are not the content owners, you know. So if you look at all those things, MCSK is just a symptom of the real illness in the music industry. And even if we bash MCSK how, they will never increase the money unless they are collecting enough money. And I think the only thing that will change the music industry in this country is, one, we see the president, artists who are talking to a street, and it will be the second revolution of music to end it on a president. Because at where the bill right now sits, it will be tabled in 2 years. And you can ask legislators. To me, the biggest problem is not MCSK, it's not Prisk, they're just small things. The biggest money in any artist is in royalties. Michael Jackson, Nani, everybody, you die, that's where you get your money. If your systems are not set right, we will keep doing this, and that's why we keep coming back here. Last 2 years ago, I was in the same seat, talking about the same things, saying the same things.
So that said, Farasha, it leads me to a very interesting question, which I have been really challenging a lot of artists. And the question is about jurisdiction. There's an interesting case, 2015. I don't want to cite the wrong civil case, but I think it's case 167, civil case 167, 2015. And it was thrown out. The judge ordered it thrown out. He couldn't, he couldn't read anything on it because of jurisdiction. And I think it's in Article 78 of our Memorandum of Understanding and Articles of Association with MCSK. And jurisdiction to mean that we, the artists, have all the power in terms of anything that runs with MCSK. So when we talk about even going to the streets and having a revolution, have we exhausted all avenues of arbitration and everything? Have we done everything? Should we even go online, yet we've not exhausted arbitration?
I'll tell you this, we will die poor as musicians if the law doesn't change. Doesn't matter whatever you do. If the law still remains the same, tutakuwa na the same problems as artists. Artists will be famous and poor if the law doesn't change. Simple.
Okay, I would actually want to say that there are mechanisms at MCSK. I wish, and I usually say like this, almost like all the time when we send a message. Probably all of us here, most of us here, have been at MCSK since they joined membership, right, through registration, from 2015, probably, or 2014, and the like. How many messages have we sent to our artists? Very many. Number one, if for example, the same way they reacted to that 2,500 that was sent to their M-Pesa phone, what if all the other probably 20 or 30 messages that we send to them, like, hey, come for an AGM, come and make this critical decision for your organization. Hey, come for this regional meeting. You need to make this critical decision. Hey, come bring your nomination papers for you to be voted in. Hey, bring all your documents, so that you can actually upload, or even all your music, so that you can actually upload your music onto the platform. If all artists heeded the same way they heeded to this M-Pesa message, trust me, MCSK would be quite ahead of the rest. So,
in that respect, are you trying to say that because artists don't attend AGMs, so decisions will obviously go against them? You're trying to say that their presence and financial misdeeds go together, Like, do you have to have the artist at an AGM for you to behave properly as a society? A lack of quorum does not mean a lack of professionalism.
I would also want to correct you on that.
You actually not corrected me. What I want you to do is I want you to answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
The facts are very clear that for any electorate, is actually elected, or let me use the word, a bad electorate is actually elected by people who do not vote. That is one.
Haya, let me stop at there, because what you're basically calling is, you're calling the leadership of MCSK bad, which also includes you as head of marketing. I'll stop there and ask Mr. Ted Josiah. I want to understand, when Kalamashaka, when DI, when all these artists who've been to your studio begin with me the journey of recording a song to a point where they go now and get registered, and how that, for you as a veteran producer, how that journey has been for you. And I know it's not a smiley sort of walk in the park, but I think for younger generation of people, I want them to understand what happens from the moment you enter a studio to the moment your song gets played on air. What happens?
There's a lot of issues that happen. One, MCSK says that they collect on behalf of artists, on behalf of authors, on behalf of composers. Sometimes artists are not the authors or the composers, but you constantly hear the word artist, 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 and they never reach out to composers or authors or people who help body of works. It's my first time to see you in the whole entire world. I am sure you would have spent some time, looked for my number. It's available online. You would have made a phone call and would have been more civil than we're going to be this evening. But we will be slightly uncivil because we are charting really murky waters. Number one, I walked into MCSK in 1993. That's when I sent my registration forms. Jennifer Shamala was there as chair. Till this day, I am still not a member. Number two, camp was registered and set up in my house. I am the founder of camp. I was removed and told, don't worry, we're just appointing a new chairman, but we will leave your membership active, so we'll collect on your behalf. I've never been sent a coin. I was sent a message the other day to be told to reapply.
Wow.
How audacious is that? But then, how does the journey of a musician happen? A lot of times, what MCSK and these collecting bodies forget is that there's somebody somewhere who has to invest in this musician. Because they walk into your studio with nothing. When Gidi Gidi walked into my studio, they had nothing. When Wiki Mosh walked into my studio, he barely had shoes. He was coming into a studio with a kala. I had to invest in him. Which money? Money I collected from MCSK? No. Money I collected from other sources, so that I could invest in this artist, so that he could make a living off of his music. Not that I could make a living off of his music, but he could. So could Kalamashaka. So could people who, like Kinagidis, Susanna Wheel, Achieng Abura, and the list is endless. However, being in the older generation, what I've seen in the music industry is this: bickering in MCSK, bickering in MCSK. I was there in '83. I remember the whole story. I was old enough to read, I was old enough to write, I could see the story unfolding. And consistently, there's been fights, 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 and no change. Just change of guard, but no change of policy. No change of policy. Despite the fact that we have technology now that could really remove a lot of the employees in MCSK and let the computers and the digital era take over, so that actually, as an artist, when I log in, I can see exactly how much money I may make by the end of the year, because it's right there, you know?
Accountability.
Exactly. And that does not happen. Now, when there's lack of that, and then when you say that artists have to go to an AGM, remember, these are musicians. Sometimes they don't even have bus fare or money for food. Ntaenda tauro safi niende AGM, ama nitatafuta dish. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Their PR is based on going out to harass the matatu owners, to harass the barbershops, to harass the club owners, to give them money, but their PR never approaches the musicians. Think about this. How many musicians have passed this year? How many checks did MCSK cut to say Pole? My good friend Bruce Odhiambo the late, when he passed, I still have the messages. He had not gotten a coin from MCSK.
Wow.
This is a platinum award-winning musician with platinum plaques. Do the math. How much money had he sold if he had gotten platinum?
And that was before streaming and all these things.
Exactly.
Which means he really sold music.
And these are people we are burying. This is really sad and disheartening for me especially. These are people we are burying who have given us some of the best times, some of the best moments in our lives, who've opened doors for us. You know, people like Guido, who right now, we don't even know where Guido is. Is he okay? Is he, how much influence has he had in the music industry? And when people like that pass, what happens? Tunawachangia blue, sombili, ama yo
hawana
tinga mbili.
yolo.
So
Yeah.
hawana.
Unfortunately, artists in Kenya, ukifanya interview unto unasikiaga, what else do you do apart from music? Because there's this notion that...
Or are you still doing music?
I am still doing music.
That's what they ask.
Yeah, are you still doing music?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you have to run other businesses on the side. Why? Just because the music is not paying. Okay?
Do you feel, as someone who is in P unit, like, why are you in this I genuinely feel, as Anto, as a musician, fine, I'm Anto. But I feel for people like you, Manze, who I jumped to your music. I had to hide a palito in high school to listen to you and come in this... The fact that I'm hearing you complain like this. Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you, the first time I actually got really interested. And that's what every artist out there should do. First of all, become a member of these organizations. Yeah? Know how they operate. Where is the weak link? What is going on? There's so much dirt in the organization and leadership. Koigi here is saying we do not show up for AGMs. Let me tell you, I've witnessed myself people being ferried to those AGMs to rubber stamp an agenda that was premeditated. So when I go to that AGM and say, no, we want digital monitoring, I'm shouted down by guys who've come there. They've been promised 3,000 bob to attend that AGM. They've been ferried from people I don't know that are artists. Some may be artists, some are not artists. How should I know? You're shouted down.
And also to ask Koigi, 13,967 members. Where are the logs of these artists? Like right now as NTV, I have looked for those logs everywhere. I would love, appreciate if you'd send us the logs of those 13,967. Obviously, when an artist passes away, they still, their families and their next of kin obviously still get the royalties. But how many ghost artists do you have? In fact, I was joking with some artists and asking them, where do these guys gig? Because 13,967 artists. Can you verify that the logs, the names, the identities of all those artists are true?
Yes. I'll go directed to about whatever has been raised all the way. Actually. In 1993, probably I'll be very frank, I don't think MCSK had very good systems back then, and also
when has MCSK had good systems?
No, right now we do have.
Because right I feel from all the interviews that I've watched, and I'm trying to be not biased very much, But for me, as an Anto now, it's very tiring. This conversation is very tiring. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Koiki.
Yes.
Because this conversation is about being clean and nice, and it's tiring me. Because I've watched you in the morning, and now I'm getting tired. And what I'm trying to understand from you is the fact that we, as MCSK, we are constantly okay with the fact that systems have not been working. And like Ted is saying, this PR that we keep doing, we're so comfortable with it that, oh, in 1993, the systems are not working. When are we going to be accountable to the fact that they've not been working? Should you be working at MCSK if systems never work?
Can I explain now?
Why the systems don't work?
Yes. No. Currently, whatever is happening, right? Please don't interrupt me so that I finish and then you can proceed. So number one, in 1993, I can almost certainly say probably the systems, even the IT world had not grown as much as it is now.
What is the difference now? I think that's what we are at now.
We didn't have telephones, as in mobile telephone. You can always tell that there are no systems, clear systems. Not only even at MCSK, but even in other companies. That is one thing. Secondly, I would want to actually say that we're very much accountable. That all our accounts, I'll be very frank, all our accounts, if you log on to our website, I'm gonna go on a short break because here we have to pay our accounts. And as we go on a short break, what I need you to come back to us is tell us, when MCSK was deregistered to the point that now you started paying royalties, I wanna understand the money that you collected, what you are doing with that money, how can you account for that money? How is that money used? Before you sent us money a few days ago, till to that point, what the money you've been collecting, what have you been doing with that money? So think about it as we go on a short commercial break. Remember, hey Anto, hashtag hey Anto at The Trend Live. And we're going to be reading your feedback at NTV Kenya. It is hot here. Keep it NTV.
Mbele iko sawa nimecheck na leo nadai moja ya power that I will never forget. Drop me your pin and our location. Staki stories za simu, mistaki my conversation. Utanipata kwenye gate kama ni appointment. You know that I won't be late. Nope. Story najua well na relate. So katambe mtumbili sote tu participate. Take a selfie.
Leo nimekam ku get down. Leo nimekam ku get busy. You've been on my case for a while. But baby, I am not that easy. I'm feeling some type of way. Nishike kama siku za mwizi. Tupige kama.
Welcome back to The Trend, and today I'm gonna be Teacher Anto because I'm gonna be breaking down everything that is happening. I can see you guys on social media saying, Anto, you're being sentimental. If your parents earn 2,500 shillings and 30 bob every month and brought home, you'd be at home every day because of school fees. So I would be very sentimental. But before I do so, let me get to your sentimental views with the one and only General C.O. Dore.
Sema Thido, Anto, ninakwambia utajua kana pali ulisomea. Ukisema Theodore tunajua ulisomea zile shule zinaitwa polling stations. Ukisoma Thido ni wewe ni wa high ed. Anyway, huku kumewaka moto Anto. In fact, hapa watu wako side zote. Wengine ni maneno, wengine si maneno. Like there's someone here, there's a Nick here. Nick anasema hiyo intro mix ya DJ Blessing kwanza hiyo imewaka moto sana, anaweza ipata wapi? Kwa hivyo DJ Blessing utatujibu hapo, but tukiendelea hapo mbele Washiro wanasema hawa wasanii wanatupiga tu kelele. Na hii 2530 naona imewatosha. Huyo ni yeye. And guess what? We have Jose. Jose anasema MCSK is pure trash. Si mimi nimesema, ni Jose. They harass people, alafu hiyo pesa wanakula wao, and those in the offices don't have talents. Tunaambiana ukweli blank. Hakuna nini hama nini, hatufichi, ni leo kumewaka moto. Timo is saying ni mambo ya avocado, anasema MCSK is taking avocado. Now what they should be doing. Oh yes, nakwambia Anto, it is something else here. Kuna jamaa anasema hapa, how do you feature yourself other artists with less than 10 known songs. Do you know there are Wakorinos, pahali, Rumba guys, Benga artists with over 1,000 songs, and still they are members of MCSK. So labda tuambiwe hizi hesabu, wao ndio wamekula pesa yetu. Watu wa Rumba na ndugu zangu Wakorino. We have other people wako hapa wanaendelea. Hey Anto, kuna jamaa anatuambia MCSK how are just collecting money from small businesses na wanaitisha pesa nyingi. Mtu wa movie shop analipa 6K. By the way, do you know how many movie shops we have in this country? Hapa tao tu peke yake 6K compared to what they are paying the artist. Angalau hata mungewalipa 6K tungesema ni movie shop moja moja. Haya, Karaoke yako hapa. Karaoke anasema MCSK are stealing from artists, and what makes me more mad, huyo ni Anto, not me. Anasema is that someone board members are actually fellow artists. Wale ambao wako kwa board, they are artists, ni wanamuziki. They are riding on others people's sweat. We have Jose right here asema, hey Anto, uliza MCSK the following questions. The first one I believe imejibiwa, the number of registered artists. Number 2, how much money was collected in the previous financial year? Hiyo tungependa kujua how much money. Yeah, tufanye hesabu zetu. We can divide. We have number 3. As well, what was the target? Target yenu ni nini? Do you have targets? MCSK on the spot again. And Wechuli, Dennis Wechuli, asema hapo at Frasha Mgenge amebonga sense tupu. MCSK is just a small section of the road in the music industry in Kenya. Lakini hapo amesema waende kwa streets. Na hii Kenya tunajua mutakula tear gas tu. Kumbe tunajulikana, tutapigwa tu tear gas. The government doesn't care anyway. Where are you? Serikali, igilieni kati, kumewaka moto. Iko tu hapa. And guess what? Hata kabla nirudi kwa meme, avocado ndio hii. Watu wa guacamole. Githeri maana kuje. Before that, turudi huku kumewaka moto. Anto, shoma hii kitu iendelee.
Thank you, General Theodore, for at least bringing down the heat right here. I'm going to read a text that I got from Honorable KJ, who is an MP. I call him Msanii wa Parliament. He says, hey Anto, the majority evil lord over the majority good because the minority evil are organized while the majority good are disorganized. And I'm going to ask, start by asking Wangeshi, are Kenyan artists disorganized?
That's a good question. Are we disorganized? I think us coming here means we're organized, since we're coming here to talk about ourselves. But until that question is hard. I feel like I'll be putting other people down if I say we're disorganized. I'm saying as a Kenyan artist, I'm organized.
Yes.
And everybody here is organized. So I'll say Kenyan artists, we're organized.
And
yes.
I'm going to take this through quickly. Ted Josiah, are we disorganized?
Let's just be honest. Hatuko organized.
Hatuko organized.
Roho safi, skiza.
Roho safi.
Mali kuna msanii, kuna ego. Where there's an artist, there's ego. Because of what? Because when we create, we actually sometimes fall into the trap of believing the hype. When you believe the hype, there's an ego caused. So you see another artist unaona ni compare. Obviously, utamumia vako, si ndio? Na inakuanga hivyo saa zingine. So kuna issue.
Before Peter Koigi speaks, Bonai, a Kenyan artist disorganized?
I have 4 points here to tell you how organized we are.
Yes.
Yeah? And I want, by the time Koigi is addressing this issue, to take us through point number 1. I took some notes, just to be organized.
Yes.
Okay? MCSK collected money before they lost their license, Koigi. Okay? After they lost their license, they continued to collect that money.
And this is in 2011, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to use that to start here.
Yes.
The year is 2011. Don't judge my handwriting.
They continued collecting money.
Yes.
From that case, the court ordered for them to account for that money to Kekobo. Okay? The money which is estimated to be around 1 billion. Let's talk figures. 1 billion Kenya shillings, approximately. Yeah?
So he's saying no. What is the approximation, Mr. Koigi?
That money, can I finish my 4 points?
Okay.
We'll have this time on the board. That money is still accounted for. Another question, and why Frasha is saying it's not an MCSK problem. The regulator, who is Kekobo, who is government, okay?
Yes.
Gave back the license to MCSK.
Yes.
Before they met the stringent demands that where is this money?
Kekobo themselves
told MCSK, we want accountability on the money collected.
Brought in external auditors.
Yes.
Then Kekobo with MCSK met up with the then AG Amos Wako.
Correct.
And struck a deal
yes.
that had MCSK to continue running its operations.
Yes. Now I want to throw a spanner in the works.
Yes.
The reason, and I want artists to get involved in these things and have information on what's going on. By the time Kekobo was licensing MCSK again, there was no board at Kekobo. So it's an individual who actually gave the license back.
Which then leads us to ask the question, who are the signatories to this account?
Yes. 2. So why, and that's another question, why did the regulator give back the license, the collecting license to MCSK while we are still complaining? Why? You see? 2, the reasons why MCSK was delicensed by Kekobo was due to poor performance.
Yeah.
We complained and we said no, MCSK is not performing, chukua license yao. At
that point, just to add to your point, at that point what was actually happening in 2011 is that MCSK's expenses were 137 million.
Correct.
Against revenues of 185 million, which means they were only able to distribute 48 million against Kekobo's regulations that they should distribute 70% and use 30% for expenses, but they were doing the opposite.
Total disregard of the law. Okay? Now, I want to come back to number 4. Royalties. You see these 20 t-shirt tumeanza kuweka hapa ya swag.
Yes.
20, 25, 30. Yeah? Royalties must be paid based on performance. General distribution is a scam. And it is hurting the performers. There's a reason Wangeshi goes to the studio, spends the night there to make hit songs so that her songs receive more airplay than someone who has one song that we've never had, goes to MCSK, registers as a member, and gets the same amount that Wangeshi is getting. Yeah? And this has been fought through, I've sat through AGMs where we've processed and pushed for digital monitoring. Why is digital monitoring fought? Because there's a loophole there. Watu watakaa kwa AGM waseme hapana, tunafanya general distribution. Akuja register uncle zake, auntie zake watatu waini ambia enda pale, record kangoma, leta CD, you are a member of MCSK, member number blah 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 blah. So by the time Bona Yama Fresh ana get 2,500, pia ule mse ana get 2,500. So even before, let me correct MCSK by this distribution they did. And the distribution is not an MCSK problem only. Kekobo, the regulator, MCSK, Camp and Prisk, are all at fault. Okay? And the reason I say so is because by the time MCSK sit in an AGM or a boardroom and decide we are going to distribute general distribution, what is the regulator doing about it? Where is the regulator? Is the regulator represented in those AGMs?
What interest does the regulator have in the royalty collection for artists?
Exactly. I saw a letter juicy from the regulator Kekobo saying, no, MCSK have met their threshold, they've given us logs. Where are those logs? We want to see those logs. They
say that they only missed it 2%. By 2% at 68%. And now we go to Koigi. Koigi, before the PPP, which is performance in public places, the money that you've just distributed is passed to artists. Before this payment that was done on Tuesday, when was the last payment before that?
Remember, MCSK has been out of business for the past 2 years.
They continued collecting even without the license.
Yes, let me finish. Yes, was out of business for the past 2 years. Secondly,
so you're saying between 2017 and 2019?
Yes, actually it's
2016 to 2018.
Yes.
So between 2016 and 2018, there's been no biashara.
No biashara.
The offices were closed.
No.
No salaries were drawn.
No salaries. I can actually tell you that I've been without a salary for the past 2 years.
Are you collecting?
Yes, but let me finish. Yes, money was collected. But it was so little it could not afford to pay salaries. It could only afford to maintain the same offices, so that in case later on we got back our license, we would still continue as if.
Okay, Koigi, a moment of clarification.
Yes.
You collected money in 2016 that was only able to pay to pay for just the usual, what we call, you know, miscellaneous things, yeah?
These fixed costs.
So my question is,
yes,
at what point do you decide that you're going to collect, that this year we're going to collect full collection from every matatu, every bar, and then this year we decide we're not going to, I'm trying to understand, how did you come to a point of collecting,
I just want to ask a logical question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which Kenyan is going to go to an office 8 to 5 every day for 2 years and not get paid?
I am one of them. And
No.
not only us,
Let's be honest.
I'll be very frank.
Just hold on a minute.
You can
You've
check
got to
all our
pay
records.
bills. You've got to pay
Yeah.
bills. You've got to have a living. You've got to put food on your table
fair.
every single day. 3 months I can understand. 6 months I can understand. 2 years, unless you have another source of income, which means that MCSK is not important to you. So really, that's not right.
Can I answer you? Can I just put in one thing?
Yes.
You guys, bashu yubure. There's nothing we're doing. This guy, we're just bashing him for nothing. These guys, if they were collecting money for 2 years and they decided this money is not enough, what is your mandate? Your mandate is not to run your offices. It's to collect on behalf of artists. If you're not collecting on behalf of us, you have no mandate in the industry. Amfai kwa ofisi. So if you are collecting to pay yourselves, that's your law mnavunja, because your mandate is to pay us. You collect on behalf of us. On that, ndio mnachukua ile 30% ya kurun your office. You see, but if you're running your office, then you're not in business.
Also, when they are running the office, keep in mind, you guys go out to collect. Why do you need to sit in an office?
okay, excuse me.
Okay,
may I explain?
Yes.
At MCSK, there are various departments. Not everybody can go to the field. We have what we call the licensing department. The licensing department main work is to go out in the field. Secondly, we have what we call the distribution department, or first of all, the documentation department. The documentation work is to make sure that you as an artist, whatever you bring in, your work is processed so that it gets into the system, and they're able to give the distribution department, these are the works, these are the airplays for these artists, and this is the money that has been sent from us from finance, and now we can actually distribute this amount of money to these artists. Yeah, so you must have several departments for them, and even customer care. All those departments are there. They work in they coexist amongst each other to make sure that we serve you as an artist.
Koigi, like back to the question I asked you, before this money that you guys distributed on Tuesday, the PPP.
Yes.
Before that, when was the last time that you had paid artists? Before Tuesday, when was the last time you paid artists?
Okay. I can actually go to the history. In because we started there from 2011. Let me finish. So that
I just need this question answered, because I'm going to take you to 2011.
Yes.
Before Tuesday,
yes.
When was the last time you paid?
In 2016.
2016.
Yes.
So I'm going to wrap this, because I think we have this. I think we need to go on an interesting timeline here. Mimi mtoto wa mwalimu. Sasa lazima we really have to this is the part that I want to understand. So because this will lead us to the final question that we're going to have for tonight.
Yes.
So right here, I'm going to leave some space here, and here, this is 2019. In fact, it should be here. 2019, 13th, 8th, yeah. Before here, when had you paid? Before 2016.
Yes.
And between 2016 and 2018, you say that the money here ni miscellaneous, ndio? Pesa ya kulipa whatever. Yeah. And 2016, how many of us here received a payment in 2016?
My friend, don't get me emotional.
Because I generally can't remember that payment. So before 2016?
2015, 2014, all the way up.
2015, 2014. This is the last time I think for me I received a payment. And all through to let's just, before we go to 1983 and whatever.
Yes. Anthony, can I get that conversation?
Yes.
How much was collected 2014, 15, 16, and how much was distributed?
Do you have those logs, Mr. Koigi?
No, I don't have them.
Are those logs available?
Yes, on the website.
On the website?
Yes.
So, and another question that I keep coming back to is this 13,967. I keep coming back to this. And also, these are the members that so far you disbursed the money to.
Exactly.
How do you verify that all these are members of MCSK? MCSK and not ghost members?
Okay, we had what we call a vetting process back in 2016.
For all these 13,000?
Yes, for all the
Okay, you had the
artists.
vetting process.
Yes.
How was the vetting process done?
Okay, what we did, we took their logs from the Vericast, the system, the monitoring system, to make sure that any music that is played in the Kenyan airwaves has been logged onto the system. And then we'll call you and ask you, why is your music not being monitored on the system? So that tells us probably you may be brought in maybe one CD, and after that you stopped producing music.
Thrasher, Bon IP unit, have you guys received monies in these years? Did you guys receive any money?
There was a time P-Unit was the highest paid
MCSK,
group
yes.
in MCSK.
Yes.
It's the truth. But let me tell you one thing. Peter here has been sent from MCSK. We'll roast him here. We'll leave. This thing will still continue. MCSK is regulated by Kekobo. They are friends. So they don't follow. If it's rules that are being followed, today MCSK should have been disbanded kitambo. But because it's Kekobo, MCSK, they continue doing it.
So we really are saying that the person who's missing here is...
It's the regulator.
It's not the regulator only.
This person here.
And I told you guys before we started, these are only symptoms. The music industry is ailing. And please listen to me. This is a big platform for us to talk to politicians who are out there, who are policy makers. Instead of us bashing these guys, they won't change. But the law, if the law is there for them to not do this, we'll take them to court. Right now, they are enjoying because there is a loophole in the laws of our country.
Bonai.
Yeah. I want to throw another spanner into the works.
Yeah.
We will bash our friend Koigi here.
It's allowed. It's okay.
We're not bashing him. We're asking questions that he's been sent here as a marketing PR person to come and control the situation. But the main problem is what Fresh has just said. Yeah? The law. There's a music policy bill. That is just lying. Just lying in parliament. That is one of the biggest solutions that we have for the industry. Yeah? So politicians will wait until it's almost elections time. Come approach us and say, nyinyi, kasongenu ni popular, kujeni kwa campaign. So they blind us with that. But what I'm asking the artists out there, if this really pains you, if you can't put food on the table for your kids, for your sister, for your brother, and you're out in the studio every night of the week, every day, you should be asking yourself the hard questions. So before you elect people, and what I want to come back to is address Parliament should pass the bill. First of all, we have legislators like KJ, who's just tweeted, he's my good friend. The likes of Sakaja, Jaguar, who's been an artist. Why is the bill just lying in Parliament?
And we're going to have a word from KJ and one of the things he said in Parliament.
So why is it just lying in Parliament?
Yeah.
Because the music policy bill is something I've personally gone through. I'm like, as much as it's like a new constitution, it solves most of these problems. Yeah? Secondly, so the parliament should, and whatever. Our good president, Unye, there's a time nakumbuka alikuwa amesema anataka
October 2016.
Anataka wasanii wakutane. Akutane na wasanii. Frasha, unajua uko karibu na presidency. What happened?
Can I tell you what happened?
Yes.
So what happened is Big Ted was told by the president they wanted to meet. And so what Big Ted did is there are 267 associations of artists.
What?
Different.
That's how organized we are.
There are many. And so what they did, they had a meeting with the heads of the associations. So after that, the next stop was to go and see the president. And that's why I told you we need to wake up and go in the streets. Not ati tunaenda kupigana, no. Petition the government. Let's go down and talk and sit with parliamentarians. That's how it's done. Sit down, talk with the parliamentarians, tunakimbizana na nini inside. After that, let's go to the president. Because we are close to the president. I know we can get to the president of this country as artists. Why not go to the president and tell him once and for all, please solve our music industry?
We're not begging. We have a bill he should sign into law.
That said though, MCSK is a company limited by guarantee, which means that the members of MCSK are the ones who write the laws, they're the ones who can take any action. I would like us to state today here on NTV for the record, and to be very clear, I'm going to ask a question that deserves a yes or no answer, period. Should we disband MCSK? Should we start over? I'm gonna start with Wangeshi.
It's a yes and no answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Ed Josiah, after all these years, we're still going through this. Should we disband MCSK?
Definitely yes.
Bonai, should we disband MCSK?
Bora wasihipe na ile pesa wamecollect.
Frasha, should we disband MCSK?
You know, that's just talk.
Yeah.
You cannot say we disband. There's law. There's law that is there. And I'm telling you,
like I said at the beginning, limited by guarantee, the members make or break MCSK. As members, I'm coming to you. So as members, you can actually decide to make the decision to start this thing over.
Which members?
You're the ones who make the rules and regulations. We are the ones.
Me and Frasha. Before you go into an AGM,
yes,
the agenda is premeditated.
Yes.
Yes.
You do not have a say. Wanatutaga uptown artists, whatever.
But listen,
wameleta jeshi ngoja Frasha. You know hizi vitu hata ukiran kama director huko.
No, nasema before we wind up, before we get to that point, I just want to know, should we or shouldn't we? Period.
Not Frasha. Yet. Culprits must go, must be prosecuted.
Exactly. If we have to, for me to say a no or a yes, first of all, there are things that you have to look around. One, they've been collecting money. Why should they go? There are guys who have stolen money from the artists. Where are they going?
Yeah.
Prosecute them. Then lastly, if you have to disband it, what next? What will happen there? You create a vacuum and then you still have no money as artists?
Before you disband MCSK, have the music policy bill in place.
Hi, I'm going to ask Peter Koigi, should we? Is this the end of MCSK? Yes or no?
No.
Hiya.
Can I explain further?
Before we get there, I'm going to have earlier on today I spoke to the MP of Dagoretti South, who is definitely still an artist. I reached out, just for the record, I reached out to Jaguar, who was unable to send a video reaction, but we have one from Honorable KJ, as we call him, and this is what he had to say, including a video of him in Parliament pushing for the welfare of artists. Have a look and keep telling us, Manze, what you feel. Hashtag Anto at the Trend at NTV Kenya.
Thank you very much, Antonio Sol, for having me on the Trend again. And I was there last week talking about legalized marijuana. And this week you have a very good discussion on matters to do with royalties, which are owed to our performing artists. And I know the question you're asking is, what are legislators doing in terms of helping our artists, even beyond royalties? And I'd like to tell you that there's a role for Parliament, even in securing our artists. And one such role is for us to work towards making laws that govern the whole performing industry. And one of such initiatives is what we call the copyright bill that you know is currently in Parliament, even as I speak right now. And we've gone through a process of reviewing the copyright bill in Kenya. And even as we were doing that, because I sit on the Committee of Information, Communication and Innovation, we discovered very quickly that we are doing stopgap measures on the bill that exists. But ultimately, on matters to do with copyright, we realized that what we have is a Kiraka bill that will eventually need a complete overhaul so that we have a copyright bill that secures the owner of the intellectual property. Now, beyond the bill, as a country, we will also decide what we need to do about our intellectual policy bill. Because even as we make a bill in Bunge, what is our overarching policy as a country on matters to do with intellectual property? So we are also pushing for government to have an overarching policy that secures any copyright holder or intellectual property holder within the framework of an IP policy. And on the onset, I'd like to note that entertainment and the creative economy in Kenya is a multi-billion Kenya shilling industry. And as such, this bill is very timely. I know that we will all agree that ideas are going to become the currency of the new world. The new world belongs to men and women who will be coming up with great, novel, and exemplary ideas. And our recent history is replete with examples of great men of great ideas who have contributed in a massive way the development of our globe. I know names like Bill Gates will come to mind with his idea of a computer on every desktop. A man like Steve Jobs, he of the Apple fame. Mark Zuckerberg, who recently visited Kenya, is a man who created the largest country by population in the world today. And the world that he created, or this country that he created, is actually online, does not exist anywhere physically. By virtue of the population of people on Facebook today, Facebook is the largest country in the world today. And so, ideas are going to be the biggest driver of development of the globe going forward.
Yeah, and that is MP for Dagoretti South. Mr. Koigi, before we all, you tell me if we should disband MCSK, I'd really like to call you out on this. And a lot of people are calling me out on social media and saying, oh, you're an artist. How am I supposed to differentiate this tag and being an interviewer? I cannot run away from the fact that I earn meager royalties from MCSK. And because I told you guys, it's all about fact or fiction. Mr. Koigi, I have received a document from the one and only Mike Strano that is giving me goosebumps. It's a Music Corporate Society of Kenya Limited annual report and financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2018. And employees of MCSK did receive salaries in 2016 and 2017. In 2016, the staff costs were 95,488,497. 2017, 129,669,501. I just want that to be stated for the record, because you had said before that you did not receive salaries for 2 years.
Yes.
That's the text that I got. Moving on swiftly, should MCSK be disbanded or not? What is the future? As we all head on to our final comments and really the solution. What after this?
Okay. MCSK to me should not be disbanded. The reason being, for the past 2 years, artists have not received a coin. That is true. And immediately when it comes 2 months down the line and MCSK distributes 44 million shillings, the first thing it gets is the bashing. If we can actually give a lot of confidence to MCSK, and I can guarantee you by the end of the year, if we are collecting 118 million in just 2 months, at the end of the year, when we distribute this same amount of money through the scientific distribution, I can guarantee each and every artist in Kenya will go home with millions of shillings. And you can bring me back here at this stage again, back at the end of the year, and we can still discuss the way we are discussing.
Cool.
And, yes.
Ladies first, Wangeshi.
So much talk has happened here.
Yeah.
I've just been a listener.
Yeah, so
because I'm part of the new generation of music.
Wangeshi first, let's start off with Prisk. Your beef with Prisk, and moving on forward.
Prisk paid for my weekend shenanigans, so that was at least okay.
4,000
bob that came. So I didn't have to remove anything from my bank. Kula ma drinks.
Okay, boys.
Na hiyo 76 bob ya kuitoa nje ya M-Pesa. So thank you Prisk for that. But anyway, my part in short, it's so funny how Kenya is the only country in the world where a musician's sweat feeds everybody else apart from the musician himself or herself. So me sweating will feed somebody who didn't make a song. Me sweating will feed somebody in an office sitting down. That doesn't make sense. So if you're listening to this, that does not make sense to anybody here or to anybody in the world. That's my part in short.
And what action are you willing to take moving forward?
Me, I'll be going for those meetings they're talking about. Send me those messages. I will actually appear for those meetings.
And make sure first go and find out if you even registered.
Oh, by the way, my papers were lost, like Ted's. There are 2 people here who haven't been registered.
Yeah. Ted Josiah, been at this since way back, since 1993. And you're still at it.
Since 1989.
1989.
Yeah.
Manzia was very young. I don't want to say the age.
Tired, this is the honest truth, and I'm just going to speak from a biblical point of view. God gives you time and talent. Your time, you never know when he's going to switch it off. He can switch it off. Your talent, it's up to you to hone your talent, to polish your talent, to make sure that your talent is A1. So that you what? So that you can put food on your table, so that you can feed yourself, so that the glory can go back to God. The man who dares steal from your talent is a cursed man. MCSK, shame on you guys. So many people have died. So many talented, gifted people who gave this nation their lives and their souls. Because that music is not just a number, it is a soul that has gone into that music. And you've stolen from that. Jadil na nini, roho safi.
Picha kwa hiki.
Okay. I would want to actually tell each and every artist here in Kenya, we have what we call a benevolent fund. So in case any artist in Kenya passes on, sorry to say so, they are given something to cover those burial expenses. It has been happening since MCSK, since I joined MCSK in 2012, all the way even today. And we still do that to cater for all our other artists. I remember the mzee who came up with a national anthem. Yeah, we actually took him to hospital because we have such a fund to cater for artists through the social cultural fund, where the artists themselves said, out of this kitty that you have collected, why don't you just take 10% of it and assist our artists, so that each and every artist here in Kenya is able to actually get a medical benefit from it, you and your dependents. Same case applies if you pass on, even your wife or one of your kids still come to MCSK, and we have already done that even in the previous years. And we'll continue doing that for the benefit of our artists here in Kenya. And I can tell you for a fact, towards the end of the year, through the scientific distribution, I can guarantee each and every artist here in Kenya, let them expect a very good payout. Secondly, I would also want to call upon them to actually bring their works so that we can start monitoring all of them, because our system has got what we call unidentified works, a lot of it. But if you bring all your works, yeah, and we load it onto that system, not only just us here in Kenya are monitoring your works, even MCN in Nigeria, even Harry Fox in USA
we have
will
to,
monitor your works.
We have to end this and continue. Bonai and Frasha, your last words, please.
So, Koigi, before you give us pesa ya mazishi, lipa watu kwanza.
Yeah, when wako hai.
When wako hai walipwe kabla kakitu. So I'm going to say this, yeah, not all is lost. Yeah, we've been in this. Artists need to get involved. It's your money. So si bona yanakuja hapa kushinda akipiga kelele juu ya pesa yako. Pia wewe kwa involved juu ya pesa yako inapotelea wapi. Somehow we fought for Skiza. Yeah, we fought for Skiza to be increased and the transparency. That has happened. We won. Yeah, before we were told, no, you can't fight that giant, blah, blah, blah. We won. And now, Skiza, instead of distributing 75% or whatever, it's accumulative. So every month, wakishukisha whatever, yeah, Fresh, I know it is not a prior to this. Listen. It's negotiation. It's negotiation. So all is not lost. We somehow fought for 70% distribution. Yeah? We started to see the effect. Yeah. The reason watu wanalia hapa sababu is 70%, by the time before guys used to collect 100%, use 70 on administration and 30 wanapatia wasanii. Yeah. That is against the law. Hata hao wakiwa in the right mind hawezi jaribu hiyo kitu sahi. Yeah. Yeah. We fought against digital piracy. There's a copyright bill in parliament right now. So there are strides being made. Yeah. We are fighting for the audit and recovery of monies that have been looted at MCSK. And trust me, we are not going to relent.
Frasha.
I will totally disagree with Bonai. Yeah. One, on Skiza Tunes. Skiza Tunes, they have a platform, and najua ndabashi wasana because of this. Skiza Tunes are the only platform that can change artists in this country. They take 70%. They are not content makers. They just have a platform. We are fighting MCSK here because they are distributing 70% and they are using 30%. Why aren't we fighting Skiza Tunes who are making billions a month, and yet they keep 70% because they have a platform? They don't have any songs. To me, that is where the ice breaks. After that is all these other things to fuatane na mambo ya policy. We sit down with MPs and make sure that we are able to pass the bill. Two, because that bill is in parliament, if we can get it done, the industry will be sorted. Finally, let me say this. the artists in this country have suffered enough. We have suffered enough. We don't want any more stories. No more telling guys we will sit down. Whatever this guy is telling us, we were told enough times before. So kindly, mali tutapatana. Na kama wasanii mali tutapatana tukae chini. Let's go for these guys. MCSK, Safaricom, all these guys who own money that is made for the artists. Let's go for them. And broadcasters.
Also comply, please. Because there's what radio? Unaweza sikiza radio bila mziki?
Hawezi watch TV bila mziki. We are definitely going to go on a short commercial break because we also have to pay bills. So we can pay licenses to be able to play you music. And speaking of music, we are going to have the one and only Ochungulu family, who I want to know if they are part of MCSK, what are they planning for the music. And we also have their music. And if they are already here, we want to know what they think about ethics, music being pulled off of YouTube because of sampling apparently a whole song. And later we also have Somo Africa. Tomorrow is going down at the Alchemist. All that right here at NTV The Trend. And General Theodore is gonna join you guys later with his 2 avocados.